So apparently everybody is extremely confused about what stretching actually is. And I would bet that 99.999% of coaches, personal trainers, even physical therapists are clueless about the mechanisms of stretching. You don't need to stretch, and I'm going to tell you why with anatomical and physiological facts. Before I do that, please hit the like, subscribe, and the bell notification icons so you can be notified when I drop more science-based fitness and diet tips. So stretching, what is it? Well, you're not stretching anything, honestly. You can't really stretch a muscle. There is a limit to the amount of length a muscle will allow, and I think the reason people call it stretching is because of the neuromuscular phenomenon that happens when you fully lengthen or put into passive insufficiency a muscle which crosses two joints. Keep in mind, you can only stretch a muscle which crosses two joints, and you're pretty limited to just a handful of muscles in your body that can be stretched. So what is stretching? Stretching is purely neurological. We have something in our body called the stretch reflex, and this is an involuntary muscle contraction that your nervous system uses to prevent you from destroying your joints by putting it in an unsafe joint position. For instance, if I fully extend my arm, you're going to feel a tightness sensation in the biceps. This is your stretch reflex. Its design is to prevent too much joint movement, which can hurt or injure my biceps tendons or my elbow joint. This is a protective mechanism. Now, if I leave my arm here long enough, the stretch reflex will start to lighten up and my nervous system will allow or permit more range of motion. Nothing is getting longer, nothing is getting stretched. It is simply my nervous system permitting more range of motion. This is not necessarily a good thing. Your nervous system is trying to prevent you from being in an unsafe joint position. But by training our nervous system to allow unsafe joint positions, it can actually be harmful because now we are able to put our joints in positions where they are weak and susceptible to damage or injury. So there's really no reason to be doing this. And a lot of people think that, well, I can't go into a workout without stretching, I need to warm up. Well, guess what? Stretching is not a warm-up either. In order to increase metabolic activity in a muscle, you must be contracting the muscle. This is what helps your body warm up, the increased metabolic activity in the muscle groups. But since we are in a passive stretch, we're not getting any of that contraction. We're not driving any of the blood into the muscle. Therefore, not doing anything to warm it up at all. And think about it. If your muscles are not warmed up and you're putting a cold, non-warmed up muscle in a weak position and loading it, well, you're pretty much asking for an injury at that point. Then a lot of people think about, do I need stretching post-workout? Well, you've already weakened your muscles during the resistance training, and adding stretching post-workout, loading a weak muscle in a weak joint position, again, you're just asking for injury. Believe it or not, there was a study conducted in 2006, and I'm going to put the link in the description and post it right here, that showed that individuals who did static stretch prior to a strength test on the knee extenders, a knee extension test. So basically they used the test to see how much force the individuals could produce on a very basic exercise, and they had groups that stretched before seeing how much strength or force they could produce. Then they had groups that didn't stretch before seeing how much force they could produce. Well, guess what? The groups that stretched prior to this test were weaker, progressively weaker. So believe it or not, stretching before an athletic event, before training, not only increases your chance of injury, it does not warm you up, and it makes you weaker. Don't do it. Pointless. There are some places in physical therapy where stretching might be able to be used, but in most cases, wherever stretching can be used, basic controlled resistance training will have the same exact effect. And those are the facts. Again, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon. Follow me on Instagram, that's _J_Vincent, so I can give you guys the actual truth and the physiology behind effective exercise.